Oi mate, and welcome to episode 223 of MandRproductions. That was a terrible accent. And today's episode is sponsored by Squarespace. So big thank you to Squarespace for sponsoring. We'll have links down in the description for them, and we'll talk more about them later. This is, of course, a series where I answer your questions about LEGO, Star Wars, and anything else. So if you have a question you want to answer on next week's episode, it has to be in the comment section of the most recent episode of Ask MandR. That is the only place that I pick from. If you do enjoy the videos, of course, the like is appreciated. But let's get started with our first question from Blinker Cat. He says, are you a bigger fan of LEGO or Star Wars? And I've gotten this question so much over the past few years, and I've never really had a good answer for it. And then this time when I read it, just had an epiphany. And the answer that I've come to is, I think more about LEGO. I do a lot more with like LEGO in general. However, I care more and like Star Wars more, if that makes sense. So ultimately though, I don't like it. Whether or not I'm a bigger fan of one or the other doesn't really matter. They're obviously so intertwined for my life, but like, that's the way I look at it. I think more about LEGO, I care more about Star Wars, and that's the best way to put it, I think. So, Retro Nostalgia says, will LEGO do any 40th anniversary Return of the Jedi sets for 2023 like they did it with Empire Strikes Back? So, it's worth noting that LEGO has never done any sets that specifically on the box have said anniversary for Return of the Jedi. The Empire Strikes Back is, I think, the only movie that they've gone out of their way to put things on the box. They did it for the 30th anniversary and they did it for the 40th anniversary. I think for the 30th anniversary of Star Wars A New Hope, they did just 30th anniversary of Star Wars, but it wasn't like 30th anniversary of A New Hope, although I guess those are technically the same. So really, Return of the Jedi is the only original trilogy movie that hasn't really gotten this treatment yet. However, I think that does change next year because we're so long overdue for a few things. The Master Builder Series Endor set that LEGO has to have designed. For example, the Mos Eisley Cantina Master Builder Series set that came out like a year ago, that set apparently had been designed for a few years, like it was just sitting on the designer's desk or something like that. Type of thing definitely exists for more than just Master Builder Series sets too, or at least like very like close to completion concept models, right? So I had originally thought that this year we would get a Master Builder Series Endor set, and the rumors are pointing towards a Razor Crest at the $530 price tag. I also think how well the Mos Eisley Cantina is doing means LEGO's probably going to keep it out for another year before retiring it at least, and they probably don't want to necessarily do like a super big overlap on Master Builder Series sets like that. And so my new theory is basically next year is the 40th anniversary of Episode 6, so the Endor set being on the 40th anniversary of Episode 6 would be great. Not that it matters to the performance of the set. The set is going to sell just as well this year as it would next year, as it would 5 years from now. And there's also a couple other sets that we have never gotten from LEGO Star Wars that are really big on the wish list for fans, at least for what's left for the original trilogy that hasn't been redone recently, and that is the TIE Interceptor and the B-Wing. I mean, we could possibly be looking at a 2006-esque lineup with a TIE Interceptor, a B-Wing, an A-Wing type of thing for the summer wave next year. Or maybe in January, I'm not sure. But I have a lot of nostalgia for 2006, so I want it to be like it was in 2006 where I got all those sets in the summer, and it was just a great time. So in my opinion, it's almost a lock, and when I get around to doing my predictions video for 2023, Return of the Jedi stuff will definitely be on there. So it's also worth noting that Ewoks are going to be in production because the 4+ Junior ATST this summer is supposed to have an Ewok in it. So I can't remember which one, but some of them use the same mold, some of them don't. But regardless, like that figure being in production could be reused in a Master Builder Series Ewok Village, or more likely Endor, just general Endor set, bunker, whatever, later in 2023. It's a little long-winded, but yes, they probably will, because original trilogy, which nothing wrong with here. I think it needs to happen. World of Brick says, why doesn't LEGO announce when they will be retiring sets? I think they would get more sales if they said when the sets will be retiring, because people would know it's the last chance that they have to get it. So I saw your question. I also saw that my video on sets retiring in 2022 has like 300,000 views, which just blew my mind. So thank you guys for that. But two things here. LEGO technically sometimes does announce that they're retiring sets, and it's not really an announcement. It's more of a footnote on their website. They'll put retiring soon on some sets sometimes to be like, this set's going to be retiring after it's sold out. It's gone, so get it while it's hot. So from a fan's perspective of like knowing when something is going to retire, it would be nice to have a little more notice than a footnote on the website. However, to your point of them getting more sales because they announced that a set is retiring, I wholeheartedly disagree. If a set is 3 months from retiring, which I think would be like the longest away from a set retiring that LEGO should even bother announcing that a set is retiring, at 3 months, they've already made their last production batch very likely. And so any remaining sets on shelves are going to sell, right? They don't have to tell people it's going to retire. Like, when you've made all the sets you're going to make in your LEGO, unless it's a theme like video, like very rarely does LEGO take sets and put them in a dumpster because they just literally didn't sell. They are going to sell all of the sets that they make for the most part, and saying that it's retiring or not isn't going to change that. So I disagree on that front. However, it would just be nicer, I guess, for fans to know in general, like, when things are retiring exactly. Like, my retirement video of sets that are retiring in 2022 is based off a rumored list. You know, it's like third-hand information, and it's really hard to get anything accurate on that front. But just a general rule of thumb, if something has been out more than a year and a half, 2 years, you're playing with fire by not buying it, like, if it's something you want. But I wouldn't expect this to change from LEGO. I would not expect, like, you know, announcements of things retiring. They also have so many products that I think it's a little bit hard to keep on top of for them, or something that they just don't see worthwhile, because like I said, it's all going to sell anyway. Hen Solo 785 says, do you think Jedi Bob will ever make a comeback? Yes, Brickset leaked it to me. And, well, we'll see what happens near the end of the year or next year, who's to say. But I am inclined to believe so. Richard Snowmain says, coming into the new Star Wars wave, do you think we are entering a new LEGO Star Wars renaissance, the likes of which hasn't been seen since the late 2000s, early 2010s? Yes, and I tweeted this back in February. I am ahead of the game. 3 months ago, I tweeted LEGO Star Wars designers in 2022, and it was like Age of Enlightenment, and I had the pictures of all the things. So yeah, I think that the last couple years, or last few years, that have been really rocky for LEGO Star Wars, and obviously the fans have made it very clear what's good and what's bad. I think it's been beneficial for the product that we're getting out of LEGO Star Wars on the whole. So yeah, I think that, like, a bunch of videos complaining help, because that's how you tell people you don't like something. I know, it's crazy. So yeah, I think things have taken a turn for the better here with Phase 2 Cody and potentially Jedi Bob and all these sorts of things that should have been happening, you know, a year or two ago. But finally they've realized that it was unsustainable to just continue to slap fans in the face because it was stupid. You know, like what were we doing? You know, I'm sure that's kind of the general sentiment, but that's just the way that I see it. So yeah, I think things are getting better, and things got worse before they got better, which was unfortunate. But finally we're kind of arriving at a place that I think we all want to be. So I'll miss making videos like why LEGO Star Wars designers think fans are dumb. That was a good one. That's actually, I've rewatched that a few times, and that is one of my favorite videos I've ever made. I know it's crazy, but it just is. I really like that video. It matters to me. Today's Ask MandR is sponsored by our friends over at Squarespace, where I recently launched my very own website, MandRproductions.com. I use Squarespace's online website builder, which is a simple-to-use platform that allows you to build a website and help establish your online presence from scratch without needing any coding experience. Yeah, I kind of skipped those classes in high school. I took gym. It was better. Its simple drag-and-drop features have allowed me to expand MandRproductions.com to now include even more bad videos than before, as well as a new comments feature allowing you to comment like it's 2010 again. If today's Ask MandR wasn't enough for you, you can now visit MandRproductions.com to experience my 5,000 subscribers Q&A from all the way back in 2014. That was 8 years ago. Be sure to check out Squarespace today using the link in the description below, squarespace.com/MandR, to save 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Link down in the description below. Thanks to Squarespace, and let's get back to the questions. That guy Trice says, if LEGO became a publicly traded company, they may already be, I don't know, would you buy stock in them? They're not a publicly traded company, they're a private company, family-owned company at that. I firmly believe I would be a much richer man if LEGO were a publicly traded company, because I have been so into LEGO for 20 years that there is no way at some point, like 7 years ago, I wouldn't have gone to like my parents or someone and been like, I want to buy LEGO stock. That would be cool, because that would have got me into it, right? And I would have been buying LEGO stock, maybe I would have been buying some Apple stock, and who's to say, I would have put some amount of money in the stock market, especially into LEGO. And where LEGO was 5 years ago and where LEGO is now, I'm sure I would have made a pretty penny. However, I would also be interested to know how that would affect the dynamic of my channel. Not necessarily because I think if I owned Lego stock, it would change the way I think or talk about things. Like, I own a bunch of Apple stock, and like, it doesn't change the way I think about my Apple products, I guess, right? But I do think that it might be a thing where, like, if you own stock in a company and you make videos like promoting that company or whatever, that you have to be like really clear about it. I don't know. I feel like there would be something there where I would like have to make disclaimers in every video I make, and that for me would get a bit annoying as a video maker. But maybe I wouldn't have to do that. I don't know. That's the thing I actually think about more than anything else with that. But it's completely irrelevant because Lego's not a publicly traded company. I don't own any stock in Lego, so it is what it is. Vibro says, would you consider buying more Lego Star Wars store displays? I have very little interest in these, and I get a ton of DMs and emails about them all the time, and I appreciate those that do reach out to me with cool things, but the store displays specifically, I have so little interest in collecting. And I tried collecting them. I have two in my collection. I have the 501st one that has like the 501st Battle Pack in it. And then I also have the mini one on display back there that has the mini sets from like 2003, 2004. And I think that's a really sick display that I can hang over my shelf. But a lot of the store displays are really big and really cumbersome. Like, I had one store display. It was the 2015 Pose X-Wing store display. And it just took up so much space. It doesn't fit on a shelf. It's like kind of ugly, to be honest. And like, I don't know, these store displays in general, I'm just like, I'd have no interest in owning almost any of these unless they're like small ones and like at that the cool ones. And I think I have the only two that I really want at this point. Like, I just have no interest in collecting them. They are really big and sometimes really expensive, sometimes not. I don't know. It just varies on what people ask for them, how much they cost, I guess. But for the most part, I don't find myself interested in collecting that sort of thing. And it's also something that doesn't really have anything exclusive in it. Like, I can and usually already do have the sets contained within the display. So to me, it's like kind of irrelevant to own the display when it's just a static version of the thing I already have. So like, there's that too. So yeah, probably not something I am going to be collecting many more, if any of, unless something cool comes along that I want. Cut the Red Wire says, hey Ryan, I have $300 to spend on the summer wave, so what Lego Star Wars sets should I buy? Love the content, by the way. Thank you, Cut the Red Wire. Pretty simple answer here. $140 into the ATTE, so you can get that Phase 2 Cody. $70, I think, is going to be the Inquisitor ship, or is it going to be $100? Oh, it's going to be $100. $100 for the Inquisitor ship. That'll bring you up to $240. And then I put another $30 into the Obi-Wan Kenobi's Jedi Starfighter. That'll have the Kim and Owen figure for the first time. So I think those three sets will bring you up to about $270 plus tax, around $300, and you're pretty well off there. That's a really good way to spend $300 this summer. Lego Genius 22 says, how much of a disaster is LegoCon 2022 going to be? I'm already prepared for the only set revealed there to be Mando's Naboo Starfighter. Look, as much as I want to jump on the train that LegoCon 2022 is going to suck, and it very well could, I suppose, I don't think so. I think that last year, not revealing the gunship was by far the biggest mistake they made. Plus, oh my god, I mean, could they have made it any more? I mean, and to be fair, this year already kind of has the vibe, but it was so like, hi, welcome to Lego. And it's like not talking to the viewer. I don't know, it's really weird. Like, their catchphrase this year is something and then it says fam, and I'm just like, it's an eye roller, you know? And that's what last year's show was, a big eye roller. And like, you don't want that if you're Lego, I don't think. But maybe that's what they're looking for. Anyway, this year, I expect them to reveal Star Wars summer sets there, like Phase 2 Cody and stuff, like stuff that the fans have been asking for. I mean, it's a convention for the fans, so you would think, or like an online con, whatever, show. It's not really a convention. Anyway, slight hiccup in my plan. This is going to be happening the Saturday at Brickworld Chicago, so I am trying to reserve a room at Brickworld Chicago so I can either do like a live watch party with fans and live stream it, or at the very least, like live stream it myself on my YouTube channel. So I'm not 100% sure what's going to happen there yet, but I'm trying to organize something, and hopefully Brickworld will get back in contact with me, because I think it would be, you know, good for them to have an event for people to join and watch with me. So we'll see, but that's the fringe idea of a plan, so I'm hoping to get something together there. Anyway, Jacob says, why do you think Lego waited so long to release a Commander Cody minifigure? In fairness, the Commander Cody minifigure has existed since like 2008. There have been a couple different Phase 1 Commander Codys, just no Phase 2. And the answer is they weren't going to release one unless people asked for one. And when it didn't come in General Grievous' Starfighter, which it absolutely should have, and like anyone that was thinking there would have included it for that $80 price tag, like it became a bundle abundantly clear that they were not intending to make that minifigure. I don't think there was like a particular reason they're waiting to make one, or, you know, like other than they just didn't care to make one until people asked for it. And that's the sort of thing, and like the reason that I think it's important to be like, we want this as fans, like Captain Rex's Y-Wing. Like, still don't understand why that's not a set yet, but like, you know, I think there's a lot of things like that. And I think Dexter's Diner or Dexter Jetster could very well be that next character that, like, you know, why haven't they released this after 20 years? Oh, because they just weren't going to until people asked for it. So hopefully Dexter Jetster gets made next year or in a couple years. I don't know. But like, yeah, it's pretty straightforward to me. They weren't going to make one until people asked. Michael wants to know, how valuable are LEGO VIP points, and at what prices do you buy from somewhere else like Walmart versus just buying new and gaining points? LEGO VIP points are only 5% back on your purchase. And if it's double VIP points, obviously that would be 10% back. So typically, unless you're buying a UCS set or a LEGO store exclusive set that you can't get anywhere else, a store like Walmart or Target or Amazon will always have the better deal, like 20% off. Or like if a set is brand new, I guess buying from LEGO is better because they're not on sale yet at Walmart or Target. But usually these stores at some point will have a 20% off or better sale, at which point it makes no sense to ever buy anything from LEGO. Usually buying directly from LEGO, unless you're getting a promo or something too, is always just not the move. So yeah, very rarely is it better to buy from LEGO. Go says, do you think LEGO will ever make a UT-AT or do anything with Galactic Marines and Bakara? So I have the Clone Wars Customs versions of Galactic Marines and Bakara, but man, it would be cool if LEGO made those figures, and especially Galactic Marines. I mean, it's pretty simple that they could just use the Snowtrooper mold. I mean, they look very similar, if not exactly the same outfits, just in different colors. I'm not exactly sure, but as LEGO fans, I think most people would be okay with the similarities there. As far as an actual UT-AT goes, there was actually a model of a UT-AT in a LEGO Star Wars book a few years ago, or maybe a decade ago at this point, but it was like a preliminary model, and it's something they just never released, so it's clearly something they've considered but didn't go through with. Potentially we could see it in 2025 with the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith. I have very high hopes for the 20th anniversary of Revenge of the Sith, and I think it's kind of important that we as fans make it clear that we all have high hopes, like, or at least if you guys also have high hopes, I suppose, that they do a bunch of Episode 3 sets in 2025, like maybe UT-AT, something to do with Coruscant, like Jedi Temple or Jedi Chambers, whatever. Like, there's a lot of things for 2025 that really should be done. So UT-AT, I would potentially slot into that year with a set, with an Order 66 set. Maybe they could make it 18 plus. Maybe that's the reason they haven't done it, is because it's bad for kids that the clones kill the Jedi or something. I don't know. But it's a set that certainly should exist. Birdiology says, as a kid, what set was your white whale? By the way, for a motorized set, the turbo tank would be cool. I agree, but I have no idea how they would achieve that. Let's go pre-internet. So anything before 2009, what was the set that I wanted but just couldn't afford? I say pre-internet. Obviously, the internet existed before 2009. 2009 is just when I started my YouTube channel, like early 2009, so that's why I say that. So I think there's 3 sets that pretty easily fit into this, and I'm not really sure which one I wanted the most out of the 3, but in 2002, there was the UCS Star Destroyer that I wanted very badly, as well as the UCS Death Star that came out a few years later, and then a couple years after that, the UCS Millennium Falcon. So those 3 very big UCS sets just always caught my eye, of course, as a young kid, but were definitely, like, everything in the, like, the 100, I think really to that point, those are the only 3 sets over, like, $130, but, like, everything up to $130, like, was, like, relatively attainable. Like, I could either get it through doing chores or, like, as a big, you know, one big Christmas gift. But, like, those big ones, oh man, as a kid, dude, like, it's something different, like, looking at something like that when you're 9-10 years old and just have no chance of being able to get it, but, like, really desperately want it. So yeah, those ones were definitely, like, top of my, like, white whale list, and certainly fit the definition of a white whale because I could not get them. China says, when do you think they will ever bring back the Super Battle Droid? The last set it was featured in was the 2015 Hellfire Droid. So, Super Battle Droids are missing. This is the last set that they were included in. Most people, I would say, collecting LEGO Star Wars nowadays probably don't even remember seeing this on shelves, you know? So this was the last chance you had to get a Super Battle Droid, and most people miss this chance, is my point to that. And so it begs the question, why is LEGO not releasing a Super Battle Droid? And I think there's 2 parts to this answer that are very likely. So the first part is that the Super Battle Droids are very notorious for breaking. Like, their arms and legs always snapped. Like, I had so many as a kid that would break, and it was just a very common thing, unfortunately, especially with the original versions, the light blue Super Battle Droids, which I think cost nearly $100 now, which is mind-blowing, but I love them. They look so cool. So there's a potential that they just stopped including them in sets because it was such a headache to deal with the customers that would have them snap because it was just poor quality, that they decided to, like, just wipe Super Battle Droids, maybe put them on the back burner for the future, and we'll see if we can fix the design later, but it's not important to them because prequels. And so that's a potential answer. And then the other answer that's also a potential is that they have just used the mold so much that the mold died, basically, or is no longer usable, and until they make a new mold, or really, I think it's 4 molds, because the Super Battle Droid has 4 unique parts, basically, with the legs, 1 of each side arm. Actually, no, it's 3, because the arms are the same, you can flip them. And then, of course, the torso. So if the molds have all kind of worn out, or I guess if any given one of those molds wear out, you can't produce a whole figure without the rest of it, you're not going to be able to make Super Battle Droids. And it is really unfortunate. One answer or the other, I think, are the 2 most likely there. Either way, because getting all these battle droids in sets where, like, in the summer ATTE, it would be really cool to get maybe, like, 1 Super Battle Droid. I don't know. Like, I feel like getting those mix of droids is something that made LEGO Star Wars sets in the past kind of cool, and, like, it's something that we're kind of missing now. So it's not, like, obviously there's other things that make sets cool, but, like, I don't know. It just feels like it's something that's definitely missing nowadays, and I've definitely noticed a lot of people asking about it, and those are my 2 best answers. I have no idea if and when they will ever bring it back. It's one of those things that frustrate me about the LEGO Ambassador Network being so terrible and, not getting me an interview with the designers. These are the types of questions that we could have had answered 2 years ago. Like, this is the sort of thing that, like, I don't know, the community kind of cares about, and, like, it would just be nice to know why it's been 7 years without the other half of, like, the types of battle droids that you get normally. Like, yeah, it seems like a kind of important thing to the community. I don't know, like, it's just one of those things that, like, at the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, it's not world hunger or anything, but, like, come on, like, just tell us why. So part of me definitely leans towards them never bringing it back, but saying never seems a bit foolish given that LEGO Star Wars can probably continue for another 20, 30, 40 years. Like, at some point they have to, right? So we'll see, but those are my 2 best guesses that I gave you. So anyway, let me know down in the comment section below if you have a question for next week's episode, and I just might pick it. Leave a like if you guys enjoyed. And again, a huge thank you to today's sponsor, Squarespace. Make sure you use the link in the description down below and save yourself 10% off your first purchase of a website or domain. Thank you all so much for watching, and you can check out more videos on the end screen now.